Have you ever felt like your credit report is, secretly working against you? Well, today we are grabbing the reins. We're going to tackle one of the most frustrating parts of a credit report, hard inquiries. And I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to get those unauthorized ones wiped off for good. So picture this. You're scrolling through your credit report, everything looks fine, and then, bam, you see a company name that makes you go, wait a second. Who on earth is that? Your stomach does a little flip, right? It's a super common feeling, and honestly, it could be anything from a simple clerical error to the first sign of real identity theft. And this right here, this gets to the real heart of the problem. It's not just about losing a few points on your score. A bunch of hard inquiries paints a picture for lenders, and that picture can make you look, well, a little desperate for cash. It's all about perception, and to a lender, a lot of recent inquiries just screams risk. Okay, so here's our game plan to get this all sorted out. First, we'll talk about why this is even a problem. Then we'll get into the super important difference between hard and soft inquiries. After that, it's detective time. We'll find those shady inquiries and then run through the actual removal playbook. And finally, we'll wrap up with how to keep your credit safe from now on. So let's dive into our first section. Look, the problem with a hard inquiry you don't recognize is so much bigger than a tiny dip in your credit score. Think of it this way. At its absolute worst, it's a huge red flag that someone might be out there trying to open accounts using your name. All right, let's make sure we're all on the same page here. What is a hard inquiry? People call it a hard pull, a hard credit check. It's all the same thing. It happens when you officially apply for something like a loan or a credit card. It's you raising your hand, telling a lender, hey, I'd like to borrow money. Please go ahead and check my financial history. And they cannot do this without your permission. And just to give you some perspective on the damage, according to FICO, one single hard inquiry will usually only knock less than 5 points off your score. Yeah, that's it. And your score will probably bounce back in a few months anyway. But, and this is a big but, the inquiry itself sticks around on your report for a lot longer. Okay, now this is important. Before you even think about disputing an inquiry, you have got to understand the difference between a hard one and a soft one. This is like the fundamental ground rule for everything else we're about to do. And this breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you've got the hard inquiries. These only happen when you apply for new credit, and yeah, they can ding your score. On the other side, soft inquiries. These are totally harmless. This is when you check your own credit or when a credit card company sends you one of those "you're pre-approved" letters. They have zero, and I mean zero, impact on your score. So for today, we are only talking about the hard ones. So what's the life cycle of one of these things? Well, a hard inquiry will sit on your credit report for 2 full years, 24 months. But here's the good news. It really only has the power to affect your FICO score for the first 12 months. After that first year, it's still visible, but it loses its sting. Now, you are going to love this rule. The credit scoring models are actually pretty smart. They know that when you're looking for a big loan like a mortgage or a car loan, you're going to shop around for the best deal. So they give you a window of time, usually between 14 and 45 days, where all those inquiries get bundled together and count as just one. So go ahead, be a smart shopper. It won't wreck your score. All right, time to put on your detective hat. In this section, we're getting into the nitty-gritty of how to comb through your credit reports and spot any inquiry that has no business being there. This is where you really become your own financial guardian. Here is your 5-step investigation plan. First, you've got to get your free reports from all 3 bureaus. That's Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Go straight to the hard inquiry section and just list out every creditor and the date. Now here's a pro tip. If you see a company name you don't recognize, don't immediately freak out. A lot of times it's just the parent company or the bank behind a store card you applied for. That's why step 5 is so critical. If you're not 100% sure, call the number listed for that company before you even think about filing a dispute. Okay, you did the legwork. You found an inquiry, and you are positive it wasn't you. So now what? Now we move on to the action plan. This is the playbook for getting that thing removed from your report. But before we go one step further, this is the single most important rule in this entire explainer. You absolutely cannot remove a legitimate hard inquiry. If you applied for that credit card, if you gave them permission to run your credit, it has to stay. We are only, and I mean only, going after inquiries that are either fraudulent or a clear mistake. The whole dispute process really boils down to 4 simple steps. 1, get your evidence together. This is stuff like a copy of your ID, a utility bill for proof of address, things like that. 2, decide how you're going to file the dispute. 3, you file it with the correct bureau, whichever one is showing the inquiry. And 4, and please do not skip this, keep meticulous records of every single thing. Every call, every letter, every email. So what's the best way to do it? Well, calling can be the fastest. A lot of people find that asking to speak directly to the fraud department, especially with Experian, gets things done quickly. The pro is speed, but the con is you don't really have a paper trail. The online portals are convenient, sure, but can sometimes feel a bit like you're yelling into a void. And then there's certified mail. It's the slowest, for sure, but it gives you ironclad proof they got your dispute. Honestly, the best method really depends on the situation and how much you value having that paper trail. Okay, everybody, listen up. This is a massive, massive warning. Do not, and I'm going to say it again, do not dispute a hard inquiry that's tied to an account you actually opened and want to keep. Why? Because when you dispute the inquiry, you're basically telling that credit card company, that wasn't me, and they might take you at your word, assume it's fraud, and close your account. This playbook is only for truly unauthorized inquiries. Getting a bad inquiry removed is a huge win, no doubt about it. But the job isn't quite done. The last and maybe the most important part of this whole puzzle is playing defense. Let's talk about how to make sure this never, ever happens to you again. These are the best tools in your protection toolbox. A credit freeze is your nuclear option. It locks down your credit files so nobody can open new credit in your name. It's free, and you can easily thaw it when you need to apply for something. A fraud alert is a bit softer. It just tells lenders to take extra steps to verify it's really you. And of course, the basics, regular credit monitoring and using strong, unique passwords. That's your first line of defense. And just remember, you're not out here asking for a favor. You have the full force of the law on your side. The Fair Credit Reporting Act, the FCRA, is a powerful federal law that guarantees your right to an accurate credit report. It legally forces the credit bureaus to investigate your dispute, usually within 30 days, and it makes sure the whole process costs you nothing. So, there you have it. We went from spotting a problem to building a plan and getting it done. You've cleaned house on your credit report, you've put up your defenses. So the only question left is, with that roadblock out of your way, what's the next big financial move you're going to make? Thanks for joining me.